Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Parry where we don't pull or duck no punches. And the Parry is fundamental to boxing. I am your host, Bomani UFG.
I am the pragmatic Che Black.
And we are back here on the Parry with another episode to discuss what turned out to be a better fight than I expected. Now,
Much better.
and I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna go ahead and eat a little crow. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to go ahead and just boo myself. I totally was out on this fight and was like, I'm not even purchasing this fight. Uh, I thought it was a waste of my time and money because I figured Tank will finish this guy within 6, 7 rounds. Not that I
Right.
didn't have any respect for the skill of LAMONT Roach. I thought he was a decent fighter, pretty good fighter, excuse me. He's a champion at 130 pounds. But I thought moving up to 135 to fight probably one of the hardest pound for pound punches in the sport. And Javante Tank Davis, I just thought it was a little bit too much, a tall task. And I know they had a history, fighting in the amateurs, but this is the pros. And Tank has reached, at least in a lot of eyes of boxing fans, he reached a new level, skill wise, popularity wise, probably after Canelo being the most popular fighter in the sport right now. Um, but yeah, I was totally down on this fight, man. I wasn't gonna buy the fight, um, but I ended up buying the fight. But before we get too in depth into this fight and fight card, what's on your mind, Shay Black? What you got for me?
Well, what you mentioned, definitely a better fight than it was anticipated. I actually thought it would go about 5 rounds personally. I
Hmm.
predicted a fifth round knockout. Um, so I'm pretty much in the same boat you're in. I really didn't expect what actually ended up transpiring in the ring. And what ended up transpiring in the ring brought about a lot of questions
Right. And we're
because
gonna get to that. We're gonna get to
yeah,
the
a lot of
questions.
questions, a
Let's not
lot of
get to that right
questions
on top.
are looming around this this
I,
uh this fight. But go ahead.
I will say before we really get, like I said, get too in depth into this fight and fight card, a couple things we gotta take care of first. But I'm glad I got my man Tony Montana in the building. See, because I told him we was texting earlier, and I told him that I was going to address him. See, because he's a huge Tank Davis fan. I'm a Tank Davis fan, but this guy he rates him highly, and I just had to tell him how his man caught, me, caught a beating and got away with one, really. Because if you're being honest, like the first few rounds, you probably could have gave Roach round one, Tank round two. Like they was kind of going back and forth. Then Tank kind of won like the little streak of some rounds, maybe like 3, 4, 5. But from like round seven on, it was getting dark for Tank, man. But that's neither here nor there. Let me handle some business first. Shout out to Mental Son, man. Um, he's a friend of the channel, and this episode is sponsored by Artifacts Clothing. Let's deal with it.
If you don't claim it, I don't wanna get acquainted. I cannot keep cordial when your weak ass protocol keep us in danger. If you don't claim it, I don't wanna get acquainted. If you don't claim it, we don't wanna get acquainted. If you don't claim it, I don't wanna get acquainted. If you don't claim it, we don't wanna get acquainted.
The Caribbean islands to South America. The one thing we all have in common is Mama Africa. The only way
I don't know that last guy that was rapping on there. His voice sounds kind of familiar. I don't know who that was, man, but he was super dope. He sounds pretty good. But anyway, shout out to Artifacts Clothing. Go to artifactsclothing.com. You know what I'm saying? I forgot the slogan, like mean what you wear, something to that effect, man. But you know what it is. Support the real. Support artifactsclothing.com. Go get you something, man. You got something for everybody. Buckets, fitteds, t-shirts, hoodies, scarves. My man got it all. So shout out to Mental Son, man. Thank you for sponsoring the Parry. Um, so yeah, should we just get right to the main event, or you want to deal with a couple?
Well, we
Couple
could talk
fights on
about
the
well,
undercard.
the Russell
Gary Antoine Russell.
Valenzuela. That fight was a good fight.
Absolutely.
It was definitely a good fight.
Well, it was a one-sided fight. To be
It
honest,
was
like
one sided,
Gary,
but
he
the
won
brother
damn near every minute of every round. But it was a Venezuela is a champion. He's him.
Venezuela
But
was in the fight.
say again. Yeah.
Valenzuela was in the fight. He was in the fight. And it was one of them fights where I didn't have him winning the fight at all. At all. I just thought that he gave Russell a very good fight. He gave him a good test. You know, it was I don't even like to use the word test because it wasn't necessarily a test, but he gave him a good fight. He didn't go there to lay down.
Yeah, as a champion, he showed heart, he showed grit, he stayed in there. Considering Gary Antoine Russell is coming off that loss to Alberto Puello in his last fight.
Tough loss.
Yeah, tough loss. So a fight that he thought he won. That I remember watching the fight. I thought it was close. Thought it could have went either
very
way.
close, very tough fight.
But nonetheless, coming off a loss, he gets a title opportunity to win the WBA lightweight strap, and he goes in there and he does what he does, man. He put on a hell of a performance. I thought he was focused. He came in there. He didn't ease up off the gas like he did against Alberto Puello. Like he kept his foot on his neck, kept on applying that pressure throughout the whole fight. And congrats to him, man. His first world title, man. Shout out to comes from a long line of world champions and fighters and amateur fighters and like his whole family. His whole family is a bunch of fighting. They'll listen. That's the last family you want to mess with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like you got an ass whooping coming down the line, man. You gonna like for real. So shout out to Gary Antoine Russell, man, for winning his first world title. Shout out to Jose Venezuela too, man. He definitely is a good fighter, and he'll bounce back. Another fight on that card we may want to discuss. Jared Hurd. Jared Hurd lost a split decision to Johan Gonzalez, and then he announced his retirement.
Well, that was a decision that we'll have to see because that was a heartbreaking decision for him in the ring to lose by a split decision. It's tough in itself, especially believing you won the fight. So I think a lot of that was heartbreaking frustration speaking after the fight in that post fight interview. But it's a possibility he will retire. We'll see. I do think that he has some fight left, but
I think Baba Sekou made a good point. Hurd is cooked and so is J Rock, man. Shout out to Philly, man. You know what I mean? I think Hurd is, if I'm not mistaken, he's from the Midwest. He's from Cincinnati or one of them cities, one of them towns in Ohio, I believe. Cleveland. But I don't think it's Cleveland. I think it's Cincinnati he's from. And J Rock being from Philly. They both kind of was in the same crop of junior middleweights that was, you know what I mean, doing their thing. And, J Rock being a unified champion at one point. Probably his most popular moment is probably getting slept by a nasty uppercut from Jamal Charlo. But Jared Hurd, like I'm not gonna lie, man, there was a time he was one of my favorite fighters because he was never in a boring fight, always in an action-packed fight, man. So Jared Hurd, I think he gave us all that he had in his career. Good career, former world champion. He reached the highest of heights. I think he made a lot of money with Al Heyman, and he probably can in a situation where he can retire and move on to the next thing. It just seems like he don't have it no more. He's not the same fighter he was, and I think it's about time, man. It's all right. Some fighters is like you're okay with seeing leave the game, and I'm glad he's leaving the game with all his faculties in order. At least it seems like, and not leaving out on his back and bruised up and with brain
I
damage
mean, he
and all
did
this and
kind of
that
leave
want
on
more
his
money.
back. Maybe not bruised up, but he did kind of
You
leave.
know,
Man. He's not riding off in the sunset of glory, so to speak. But
nah, he's not riding over as a champion into the sunset of glory or nothing like that. But what I'm saying is he was a highly entertaining fighter. You know what I'm saying? He was a highly entertaining fighter in his career. When he was a champion at 154. But you know, he kind of fell from grace in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Hasn't been the same fighter in a number of years, but I just feel like as a fan of Jared Swift Hurd, I'm okay with seeing him walking away from the sport at this point. So he gave us all that he had. Highly entertaining fighter. Kind of remind me almost like a Badu Jack. Like Badu Jack been in some classic fights. Is he still fighting though? I don't think he retired yet, but he may want to start thinking
he
about it.
hasn't officially retired yet. But these, I mean, he was a tough journeyman, and that's really what it. But he was in the caliber of an Obed Sullivan, in the caliber
Wait. Who was a tough journeyman? Who was a tough journeyman? Badu Jack?
I'm talking about Hurd right now.
Oh, Jet. All right, man. On to the next thing, man. I'm not doing this, bro. But yeah, it's too early. It's too early in the show for you to start talking crazy, Jay. Like, come on, man. A glorified journeyman? Man was a
I
champion.
didn't say
What
glorified.
you say?
I didn't say glorified. He was a tough. He was a good journeyman.
Was,
He's a tough. I didn't say glorified. I don't think I used the word glorified.
Jared Hurd is a former champion. He was a damn good fighter, man. Highly entertaining. I wouldn't call him a
You know what the
journeyman.
problem is for me? Here's the problem for me. And you know what? I do have to retract that statement. I will. But here's the problem for me. It's easy to say I am or was a champion these days based on the variety of championships you can win that they consider to be world championships. The variety makes it kind of, to me, tarnishes and diminishes what a champion is. And journeyman isn't really a negative term. It's a description of a tough contender who never got over that hump, of greatness. They never broke through. And every now and then some of them do, but you got your Mickey Wards, and you want to talk about a glorified journeyman. Technically, I would say Torre Gaddy was a journey, even though he was a world champion. He just happened to be. He was never the greatest in his division. But go ahead.
I mean, listen, man. Jared Hurd got some good names on his list, man. You know what I'm saying? He beat Tony Harrison. He beat Austin Trout, Arislandi Lara. Like, I mean, he lost to J Rock, but I think that was pretty much the beginning of his downfall. Then losing to Luis Arias, that was kind of like where he started to decline. But he reached a level in the sport where he was respectable, man. Put some respect on my man Jared Hurd.
You mentioned a lot of the usual suspects, the Trouts, the line.
Arislandi Lara, you got a problem with Lara now?
No, I don't have a.
What we doing here, Che?
I don't have a problem with them. Like I said, these are the usual suspects. But continue.
Lara's still a champion, bro.
Continue.
Like, everybody knows Che's a tough critic. It's all right, man. You listen. That's why we the Parry and you ain't, man. It is what it is. All right, so let's get to the main event. But before we do that, man, let me just ask everybody to please jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Follow us on Instagram and X at the Parry 101 and on TikTok at the dot Parry dot 101. Jeez.
Oh, that 101.
.com.
Yeah, man. No, .com. That. Oh, there's the TikTok.
Yeah, that's a TikTok, man. Come on, man. Stop messing up the flow here. But yeah, so Tank versus Lamont Roach, man. I'm gonna let you lead. Go ahead. Talk to me. Tank versus Roach. What did you think about the fight? Before going into the fight? Yeah.
Coming into the fight, I like I said earlier, I expected the 5th round stoppage, somewhere around there, 5th round. In the 5th round, for a second, it looked like it was a possibility, and if not the 5th, I was thinking, you know what, he'll probably get this guy out of there in the 6th, maybe the 7th. And in the 6th round, he started reaching him. I believe it was the 6th round where he hit him with a great counter left, you know, and it was either the 5th or the 6th, but he hit him with a nice flush left. And when I seen that he was still there, I seen that his knees didn't buckle and he returned fire basically immediately. I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting right now. And from that point, which is interesting because in the press conference after the fight, you know, Roach had mentioned that after I took his power out, you know, and realized that I could take his power, I pretty much I know I can handle this guy. And
Right.
from that point on in the fight, his confidence level and his willingness to exchange with Tank seemed to just grow by the second, to the point where I was looking at the fight and I'm saying, okay, he actually has Tank uncomfortable. He has Tank unable to set up his punches the way he normally likes to set them up, and is really not able to sit there and think the way he's able to think. You can see the pressure just from the certain things that that Roach was doing. For one, he was flicking his jab, which, you know, it wasn't even landing a lot. However, it was being used as a range finder, as well as pretty much just keeping Tank offset, worrying about, you know, that's annoying, that you just see this flicking coming at you in your face. You know, that's some annoying shit right there. And you know, he also was able to stay on the outside of Tank's left foot, which was very important, or I should say his right foot, which was very important for when you're fighting a southpaw. And he was really able to stay in a nice angle, to keep himself angled while he was fighting Tank. He was very effective, very busy, very effective, and Tank didn't seem like he was able to answer. And his confidence, it seemed like he was confident in his power the whole fight, as if he believed he could get him out of there. But I mean, you're hitting this guy with some dynamite body shots that would have folded almost anybody. And this guy is not just still standing there, but he's immediately returning fire, and he's not slowing down. He's still coming. So then we have the round 9 incident, which we seen Tank take a knee. Now, he says that, you know, he just got his hair did. Tank just got his hair did. He had some hair grease in there, got in his eye, and he needed the timeout real quick. So he took a knee. The referee's name again here. What was this referee?
Steve Willis.
Steve Willis, who is a damn good referee.
Damn good referee. Absolutely.
Really, really blew a big call. And to me, it seemed like he was in there officiating a fight that he didn't want to be the determining factor. He didn't want to make any decisions that would determine the outcome of that fight. Because even he warned Tank about going low several times, and it seemed like he was at the point where he was ready to take a point for the low blows. However, he didn't seem like he wanted any decision that he called to be the deciding factor, even to the point where he was confused himself with the knee, and then started the count, and then listened to Tank's excuse, and then decided, okay, well, and whatever he said, it looked like he was telling them, look, all right, well, next time, you know, be mindful that's taking a knee is a knockdown, instead of just being the official.
Let me say this about that particular call, right? I have to disagree with you in regards to, like, he didn't want to get involved in the make a call that could determine the outcome of the fight. That was Tank's call. See what I'm saying? When you take a knee, that is counted as a knockdown.
Indeed.
Point blank, period. So, and then you see, he even started to count, and then he stopped counting and gave Tank a
Right.
warning, which
Right.
is crazy. You know
After
what I'm
Tank
saying?
told him, it looked like Tank told him, look, I got some hair in my eye. I wasn't from a punch or nothing. And it seemed like he accepted the excuse and then allowed him to continue.
I
That's
mean,
what it seemed like took place.
if we being real, that's the determining factor of the fight. That's what separated that fight from being a draw and an outright win for Lamont Roach, which I had him even without the knockdown. I had him winning. This is how I scored the fight, right? Because me and shout out to Rakeem, my man Rakeem Shabazz of man,
Do the knowledge.
not do the knowledge, man. That's knowledge bone.
Oh, pardon me.
Pardon self, Rakeem, if you watching, man. Damn, slips my mind. I'll get it back. I'll get it right before it's all done. But
Nah, he is due the knowledge. Nah.
that's knowledge born, man. Stop this. All right, let me make my point. To me and the brother Rakeem, again, like we said on the last show, we always text during the big fights, right? So I had round 1 for Lamont Roach. I had round 2 for Tank. Then I had it. I said round 3 was a pick 'em round, but I gave round 3 to Tank. Then I gave round 4 to Lamont Roach. So now it was tied 2-2. Then round 5, I gave it to Tank. Now it was 3-2 Tank. Then I had it 4-2 Tank after 6. Then I even had it 5-2 Tank after 7, which to me, I may have to go back and watch that round again because, I really felt like my man won that, but I think I was kind of leaning towards Tank. Because I said, yeah, it could even be after 8. I said it could be even 4-4, but I had it 5-3 at that point.
Indeed.
After 9, I had it 5-4. Then I had it 5-5 after 10. And then he 6-5 and then 7-5. I had it 7-5. Without the knockdown.
It was pretty much a sweep going into the later rounds from what 6 on out. It seemed like it was a sweep. Or from 7, something like that. Somewhere on there it was a sweep. Indeed. And also it's Wise the Dome, Rakeem Shabazz, Wise the Dome.
Wise the Dome.
Peace
Shout
to
out
the
to the God, part himself, God, part himself, man. Yeah, so Wise the Dome TV. Yeah, subscribe, man. Stop this. So, when it came to entering the fight, right? Me and you see him in the chat, my man Tony Montana. We always go back and forth about boxing, at the job, right? And he's a huge Tank Davis fan. And, he was just like, yo, Tank is his IQ, he's going to stalk him, and then he's going to catch him with that one shot, put his lights out. Well, Tank hit him with that one shot a couple times. My man ate those shots like it was nothing. And Tank is the one who actually ended up getting hurt, getting caught with some good counter right hands, and one of them actually sent him stumbling back, looking like this ain't how this is supposed to go.
Right.
This ain't how this is supposed to go. So, but my question to you, Che, I think we could both agree, and that the boxing world can agree that Lamont Roach's stock just rose. But what happened to Tank? Now, after this, do you think Tank stock drops a little, or anybody who would say Tank stock kind of dropped a little is really underestimating or taking away from the skill of Lamont Roach? Like does this really affect Tank, this draw? I mean,
absolutely.
we really
absolutely. First
like
of all, absolutely, it's a blemish. It's on his record now. It's one of his donuts has disappeared now. It might not be in the loss column. However, it's not. He's not completely. He doesn't have the unbeatable aura anymore. That them draws mean something. Okay, so that right there is something. As far as stock dropping and even with the stock raising of Roach, these are part of the questions that we will see answered, pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? We will see these answered pretty soon in the ring. I mean, in their next coming fight. And the questions are, like you said, did his stock rise and did Tank stock drop? Of course, Tank
Right.
stock dropped. Of course it did. You looked at him, if you looked at him as unbeatable, if you looked at him as invincible, if you looked at him as unstoppable, or he'll figure out a way, he's proved you wrong completely. He completely proved you wrong in this fight. And so in that manner right there, his stock absolutely dropped. But here's the thing about boxing though. You know, he's only one sensational knockout away from his stock coming back. He's only one sensational knockout away from saying, listen, I had an off night, you know, and it happens. So I do think that his stock definitely dropped. It absolutely dropped, and he needs to be looking at the next fight. Jim Lampley said that a fight with Shakur probably would be the something he needs to stay away from, just in the defensive mindedness of Shakur. I do agree. Doesn't look like he would be. It doesn't seem, and I've always said this. I said that we're looking at two extremely high IQs in boxing if we see this fight happen, and I don't think.
Repeat that. You froze. You froze. Say that again.
I've always said that we're looking at two extremely high IQs in boxing with these fighters, Tank and Shakur. And I don't think that Tank, especially after seeing this fight last night, would be able to figure out Shakur. I don't think he would be able to figure out Shakur. I think
Oh my
Shakur would
man.
be able to for 12 rounds, he would be able to keep him puzzled and a step behind, at least one step behind, possibly two or three throughout the entire fight.
I think, first of all, my man Tony Montana ain't gonna like that. He don't want to hear that. He thinks Shakur. He actually texted me today. Said I just woke up from watching uh Shakur's fight. Like I'm still drowsy from watching that fight. He's very down on Shakur and high on Tank. And I told him, I texted him, I said, listen, Shakur's gonna whoop Tank ass. Like I thought it was a 50-50 or maybe even a 60-40 towards Tank. But after seeing this performance, but here's the thing. All right, to answer the question, did Tank stop drop? Like I said, I think we all can agree Lamont Roach's stock just went through the roof after that performance. Great performance. Does Tank stock drop a little? I will say that, like you said, that aura of invincibility is gone now, right? Because we
Absolutely.
all felt like Tank going in there. He's putting everybody lights out. You know what I'm saying? I think that aura of invincibility is gone. But I don't think Tank is his stock didn't drop as far as how good he actually is. Tank is a damn good fighter, man. A great fighter. I just think that, at least myself, I think going into it, I underestimated the skill level of Lamont Roach. So as much as Lamont Roach stock is rising, I don't think that I don't think Tank stock has dropped. I just think now we get to see what Tank looked like in the ring of somebody of a certain caliber. Because we used to seeing him beat up on guys that we think he gonna beat up anyway. Like, let's be real. We already knew Frank Martin. I mean, I thought he was a live dog, but at the end of the day, I picked Tank to knock him out. Um, you know, Ryan Garcia, like these guys, we knew that they wasn't really on the level of a Tank Davis, and Tank pretty much looked unbeatable against them guys. But the Shakurs, the Devin Haney's, the Teofimo Lopez's of the world, and dare I say, my man, Keyshawn Davis. Now, these fights look a lot more like these guys can really give Tank some trouble. But will he fight them? Is the question. Because I always said that. That's why I said I wasn't even buying this fight, because I thought it was such a lopsided of a fight that I didn't think it was even worth my money or my dime to spend money
Well,
on that fight. You
that
know what I'm
that
saying? But
becomes
I turned out to
another
be
question.
wrong. Yeah.
That's another question.
Go ahead.
That right there is another question. And that is, was it an off night for Tank? Did Tank underestimate this fighter and go in the ring and what was Tank's training looking like? What was Tank's mindset? I'm not giving no excuses of saying that that's even the case. What I'm saying is, in the history of fights in boxing, we've seen this. We've seen fighters come in there, have off nights with fighters, or take fighters lighter than they should, and in fact come back to make the adjustment. I remember when Terry Norris fought, I believe it was Simon Brown, and he went in there and Simon Brown actually rocked him, I think, in like the 4th round. And then they had the rematch, and he went in there and for 12 rounds just pretty much had his way with Simon Brown, showing his superiority in the fact that, look, I was in there bugging. I was in there probably drinking, smoking, out chilling with these ladies the night before. Who knows? But all I'm saying is that could be a possibility. We don't know. These are questions that the result of this fight has presented now.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say this, man. Lamont Roach. All right. Lamont Roach was highly underestimated. I think again, Tank looked sharp to me. He came in great shape. He even came in lighter than Lamont Roach did. Lamont Roach he came in at the weight limit. I think Tank came in at like 132 or 133 or something like that. He came in spectacular shape. So it looked like he had a great training camp. And based on some of the footage that was being leaked, he looked great. Like he always do. He looked real disciplined. Probably more disciplined than he has been earlier in his career. He's looking like he's in the best, I guess I would say, mental state as far as his approach to his training camps and how he shows up for his fight. He looked really prepared. He looked sharp. I thought that he landed some good shots, and he won some rounds. I thought he landed some good shots against Lamont Roach, but Lamont Roach just showed he's a dog. I'm not gonna give Tank that. It's easy to say, yeah, I wasn't my best tonight after a draw. Like, yeah, I kind of made the fight more difficult than I wanted to. It's easy to say that, but fam, I'm not giving him that.
I'm
I'm
not.
giving Lamont Roach all the praise. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying I'm giving
I'm
Lamont Roach
saying
all
it,
the
and I'm
praise.
not saying that that's the case. I'm saying it as we move forward. These are questions that we will see answered. That's really all I'm saying. I'm not even saying, because I don't even don't remember exactly Tank saying that. You know what I'm saying? I know
Tank
that.
said that.
I
He
know
did
that
say
Tank.
I had a.
Okay.
He didn't say he had an off night. Pardon me. Good.
And those are the go-to things to say in situations like that. You know what I'm saying? But it seems like nah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's a fact. Tank's issue was that his issue was Roach. That was his problem in the ring that night. And from what I seen, I'm just saying that we will have some questions that will be answered that a lot of people may have from this fight. And the two biggest questions become, is Roach that good, or was Tank never as good as we thought?
Nah, come on.
These are the
Come on.
questions. Let's be real.
I just think it's not even is Tank as good as we thought. He's absolutely as good as we thought. The problem is now you gotta fight the upper echelon of people in and around your division.
Well, that's how we're judging how good he is. We have to judge it on that caliber. We can't
Listen,
judge it on the
Tank.
second tier. We can't judge it on B
Listen,
plus fighters.
Tank is a pound for pound talent. I don't think that's up for debate. He's a pound for pound talent. He's on most people's top 10 pound for pound list, somewhere around number 7 or so, 8.
Mike
He's
Tyson was
he's
pound for pound, probably the only heavyweight to ever be number 1, to my recollection. When the ring created the pound for pound list in 1990, do you think he was legitimately pound for pound? If you understand what I'm saying,
Yo, for those people in the chat, am I saying something crazy? Is
Nah,
Tank
I'm
not
not
a
saying you're
pound for
saying
pound?
anything crazy right now. This one
Tank
is.
is a great fighter, bro. Like, this is not up for
I'm not saying
debate,
he.
man. Go ahead, Jake. What are you saying?
I'm not
Tell me
saying
what you're
that
saying.
that Tank is not a great fighter. Well, what I'm saying is maybe he is not the great fighter that we're thinking he is. Maybe he's an extremely good fighter. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe he isn't the best. Maybe Tank is an extremely good fighter, and he's almost great.
Yeah, I think
Because that has to say a lot for Roach now.
I think again, I think it's more of a case where we didn't realize how good Roach actually is.
Going into the fight.
I thought he was a good fighter at 130. Like, and he lost to I think it was Jamel Herring. You know, I mean, that's
Right.
how Jamel Herring got his title and ended up losing to Shakur, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but after that, he kind of been on a tear. So, and now he's a champion at 130. He moves up to 135. Nobody gave him a chance. I'm not saying everybody thought he was gonna get knocked out or he wasn't good, but nobody picked this kid to win.
I mean,
And technically, a draw against Tank and the performance that he put on, it's like he won. Like I feel like he won the fight. I mean,
I'll
based on
say
my
he won the
scorecard, he
event.
won the
He
fight.
didn't win the fight, but he won the event. You know what I mean? He won the event.
Yeah, well, he didn't win the technically. He
Why
didn't
you
win the
putting
fight.
these
I'm
names
just
up
feeling
and
like
down that? You gotta leave him up for a minute. But go ahead. What are you saying?
I was just saying, he won in the eyes of the public. Roach did, right?
No. I don't want it to be confused that I don't want anyone to think that I was insinuating that Roach was a bum. Nah, I wasn't insinuating that Roach was a bum.
Here you go. Here you go. Yo, Tone, listen, man.
But nah, I just wanted real quick before you get into that though. I just had to make sure that was clear. I was
Yeah.
not insinuating that Roach was a bum. I know that he had a draw to Orlando, some kid back in what was that? It was a few years back. He had a draw, and then he had the loss not too long ago. But nah, the guys definitely was not a bum. He definitely was not a bum at all. Is not a
All right.
bum. It was Orlando Cruz. He had the draw with Orlando Cruz back in 18, and then Jamal Herring, of course. But that his resume is pretty solid. He's been around, and what we've seen him do puts him in that. He's a player now at the lightweight division. So no, I didn't want to delete that. I was just with the questions as far as how good is Tank really. But nah, I don't want that to sound like I thought that. But continue.
I think Tank is as good as we thought and know that he is. I just like I said, we didn't realize how good Lamont Roach actually is. Tank is still one of them dudes. He's still one of them ones, man. But I will say to your point
Now
in
let's say
regards to
Tank
just
goes out starts losing.
hold
Let's
on,
say
wait,
all
hold on,
the
listen,
big fights.
hold on, listen. He already done had some big fights.
Against
It ain't
who?
been, well, look, let's be real. Shakur just over the last maybe 2 years had just really started making his mark where he could be calling people out. Like Shakur was still coming up. So it ain't like he was fighting Shakur when he was like,
There's Lopez,
16 and 0.
there's Lopez, and there's also Haney out there.
He now I will say the big fight
These are fighters
that
that he
should have
should have.
happened.
Tank should have cleaned up this division by this
The big
point
fight
in
that
his
should have
career.
happened was him and Devin. Him and Devin should have fought already. He
Absolutely.
fought Ryan Garcia, stopped him.
Absolutely.
He should have fought Devin, but he didn't. Right? Then Devin ended up. What happened with him and Ryan Garcia? He ended up losing to Ryan Garcia.
Nobody believed Ryan Garcia would beat Devin Haney. Let's be honest.
Well, he didn't technically. It was a no contest. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you cheat. See, Tony don't like this one. See, Tony,
I'm not even. But go ahead.
Now, yeah, I'm just saying, my man. That's in the chat. I know we gonna talk about this all Monday, but he's always on me about Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. He feels like, but anyway, Tank Tank against the Shakors, the Keyshawn Davises, the Devin Haney's, maybe even the Teofimo Lopez's of the world is really going to determine what kind of legacy he leaves now at this point. I don't think his greatness really is up for question at this point off a draw. I'm gonna say now it's more of a press to now we got to see you against these other guys now because now they're ready. When you was in your prime, he's still in his prime, but when he was making his name and knocking everybody out, a couple of these guys wasn't ready yet. Keyshawn Davis wasn't in the picture. Shakur wasn't really in the picture yet to be calling nobody out. It was Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. He fought Ryan Garcia. Oh, and Teofimo Lopez. It was those three guys that he should have gotten in the ring with, and Lomachenko as well. So Lomachenko fight didn't happen. The Teofimo fight didn't happen. Then he ended up moving up. Devin Haney, that fight didn't happen, even though I think offers was sent and a lot of trash talk between the two. That fight never happened. So he fought Ryan Garcia, stopped him. So now you got these crop coming up now. Now Shakur's ready. Shakur's on the level where he deserves a fight with a Tank Davis. Keyshawn Davis is now a champion in your division. So a fight should happen. Now we get to see, okay, Tank, are you the best of the best? Not that he isn't great, but is he the best of the best?
I think that
Right
that's
now.
where we differ in this opinion. I think that a lot of people have crowned him the best of the best out of his peers, which
Right.
has remained to be seen because you have to actually face these peers to actually claim that to legitimize that claim, to really have a stake in that claim. He hasn't
Right.
done that, and I think that if he begins to face these fighters and doesn't come out, victorious over most of them, he isn't as good as a lot of people have believed that he would have been. There's people right now who believe that he'll knock out Shakur, like he'll just smoke Shakur. There's people who believe that he'll smoke Haney. And I believe that these are two fighters, even though I would give him a big chance against Haney because Haney is probably chinny from what we've seen in the Garcia Vega and the in the Garcia fight. But
Well,
I think that both of those fighters would be a big problem for Tank, regardless.
all right. Well, I'm gonna say this. All right, when it comes to Tank Shakur, my man Tony Montana, if you're listening, I'm taking that bet. I'm putting my bread on Shakur. Straight up. After what I saw, the vulnerabilities that Tank has when he's in there with somebody that can really box. Not that I think it's a sure win for Shakur. But I favor Shakur, me personally. Now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell you who I think really gives Tank a problem and probably does something to him we would never think another fighter better do to him. Now I know it's early in this man's career. He just became champion, but I believe the toughest fight for Tank will probably be Keyshawn Davis. He got the grit. He got the grit of a Lamont Roach. Like, I'm gonna sit here and trade with you. The question is, does he got a chin like Lamont Roach? That I don't know. I mean, he's got hit with some good shots. He'll take one to give one. But I just think he has the power. He got the speed. He got the agility, the reflexes, the defense, and the grit to stay in there with Tank Davis and probably like beat the brakes off him. I'm being honest. Like, I'm just looking at the style of fighter Keyshawn is. He's a mixture of a Lamont Roach, at least the Lamont Roach we saw last night, with a little bit of Tank and a little bit of Shakur in there too. But he's really like a young Bud Crawford, in my opinion. He's trained with Bo Mack. He got the same kind of. He's mean. He punches hard, and he comes in there with the mindset as I'm trying to get you out of here. And you haven't seen many fighters come in there and really try to knock Tank out. Like, let's be real. How many fighters that Tank got in the ring with maybe other than Pitbull Cruz, where the whole reason I'm in here is to knock you out. Most guys get in there lately, they trying to survive. Keyshawn is coming in there to knock his head off, straight
Yeah,
like that.
I definitely want to agree with my brother. Say cool on that one. I think it's saying a whole lot. Um, a whole lot. Um, I do think when Davis fought, when Davis fought Garcia came in there trying to take his head off. When Davis fought Martin came out there trying to go for a KO, which got him KO'd. And I also think that even though we're looking at how bad he looked in this Roach fight, um, one of the answers that one of the questions that haven't been answered is, how good is Roach really? Is he like Roach may be extremely special, or he may have had a very special night. But he may be a good fighter who had a great night, or this may just be the beginning of greatness, of us witnessing how great he really is. You know, so a fight with Bud and a fight with Tank. Pardon me, a fight with Tank and yeah, that was a lot. But a fight with Tank and a fight with a fight with Davis, we still have to. We know that, but Tank power is still there. Tank still has that power,
Oh yeah,
and that power
oh
can
yeah.
can can change the fact of any fight, any given time. And if we're being honest, a lot of the fighters we even naming, we haven't seen hit like Tank, hit by a fighter that like Tank. Now we seen Roach take not just the shots, not just a flush shot to the jaw, but we also seen him take some devastating body shots that would have definitely folded so many other opponents. And he was there, moving forward, still coming, didn't slow down. All that money that Tank was putting in the bank, he couldn't cash none of that because it almost didn't seem to actually phase Roach, which was super impressive. I looked at the fight. I watched a lot of the right hands that it seemed like he took, and he had a pretty decent defense. Like we can't knock this guy's defense, which goes to his ring generalship in the ring. He
Yo,
was
Che,
able
you
to get.
there?
Yeah, I'm
Yo,
still
say
here.
it. Yeah, say it again.
Yeah, he
You
was
froze
ready.
again.
He was able to get right up in Tank chest. You know, so
Well,
and stay there, comfortably there. Make Tank the one uncomfortable in that position.
yo, before we move on, let me just take a pause for the calls real quick. Yeah, just
You
want to
know,
remind y'all to please go ahead, jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, and lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Go ahead, Jay.
this has to be probably the one of the best analogies I've seen in comparisons. What he just in this right here. Of course, I think that Tank is a much greater boxer with a much higher IQ than Wilder. But the analogy that, with Wilder, the fighter has to pretty much continuously fight the perfect fight, the whole fight. That one mistake can be the cost, and that's a big difference. That's a great similarity though, comparison. Because he just has to be right that 1 second, and Tank has been able to be right that 1 second. You know,
Nah, I can't disagree with that. But let me, the Bible say cool. The reason why I called him a mini Bud, like it's not like I'm not saying he is on the same level as Bud skill wise. I'm saying like just his style kind of reminds me of Bud, and considering they got the same trainer at this point, who might be in this corner, I see the similarities. Like I see some similarities between them two, particularly in their demeanor, right? Like Bud is mean in there, and so is
absolutely.
Keyshawn. Keyshawn is a mean dude. He's coming in there to do some damage to you. He ain't playing with you. He ain't trying to play with you. You know what I mean? But
But what's next
you
for
know,
Roach
that's a good
before this
question. I
becomes?
think I would like to see him probably go back down to 130, defend your titles, maybe unify at 135. To be honest, right now, I mean he can move on to 135. It's a Lions Den at
And
135 right
that's
now.
where the money is at. That's where the greatness is at. You chase greatness. You still going backwards. You don't move up and wait just to go back and wait. You go up and wait, and you continue
Well,
to
he has
go
to
up.
defend that title
He doesn't
unless he's
have
going
to.
to
He
unless
can
he's
say the hell with
unless
these
he's
titles. He can say the
he can
hell
do
with
that
these
too.
titles. I'm at 135 now. I just beat the man at 135. And which one of you jokers think y'all can see me? That's where my mind is at if I'm him. And if I'm Shakur, that's where I'm at. I'm looking at it like, you know what? Skip Tank right now. I'm going for Roach. Because if I fight Tank, chances are I'm gonna be at the negotiation table. I'm gonna have to take a short end of the stick. And it's really justified, to be honest with you. But you go out there and you outclass this guy. You outclass the hell out of Roach. You beat the guy who beat the guy, basically, to most people, convincingly. Now
Right.
you done rose your stock for that. Now you back at the negotiation table with Tank. Because I'm pretty sure in the interim, if Tank is smart, he has a fight in the interim, and hopefully he can find somebody that will stand in front of him that he can knock out. Now you back at the negotiation table, and hey, listen, I I I, I need at least parity. If I'm not gonna get the bigger share, I need at least parity. Right now, Shakur is not in a position to ask for parity if they were to fight.
Right. Right. Um. I actually from what I've been hearing on on boxing YouTube and Twitter, um, Shakur does want to fight Lamont Roach. I think that'll be a great fight. Two highly skilled fighters. Um, and I will say this, man, for American boxing, right? Like because right now there's a lot of noise being made over in the UK and that whole Riyadh season and things that's happening over there on that side with a lot of non-American fighters. Um, Here, there's not a lot. There's not a lot going on. Like it needs a shot in the arm, and I think these young black fighters, and once if they start fighting each other, it can provide that spark that is need over here on this side of the world to gain a passion back for the sport again. So seeing like Tank fight Shakur fight Lamont Roach, Keyshawn Davis fighting Devin Haney, like let these fights need to start happening. They need to start happening like yesterday because a lot of fights is being overseas and in the UK, and there's no slight to them. I think what's happening in the UK and with Riyadh season in Saudi Arabia, I think that is great for boxing globally. But there was a time when here in America, the black fighter from America dominated boxing from a popularity standpoint as well as a skillful standpoint. We was the guys.
But we have to.
Um, Go
A lot of that had to do with our Olympic program that was being ran. We had a great Olympic program being ran back then, which is where a lot of these guys came out of. We
Right,
don't have
the
that same
Shakurs.
program.
Well,
We don't have that.
Shakur fought in the Olympics. Keyshawn Davis fought in the Olympics. Right, these guys are Olympians, silver
Yeah, no,
medalists at that.
right, which is where
Yeah,
America, which is where our best fighters was coming out of. A
right.
lot of
Facts.
our,
The
our
Roy
best
Joneses,
fighters
the
was
Floyds,
coming, and that still hasn't changed. But I'm
Andre
saying the,
Ward.
the amount of Olympians that were being produced 84, 80, 88, 92, hell, 70, 76. Like these are there's some serious talent that came out of these squads. And it was just the amount of fighters, that was
Nah,
going out
nah,
there
nah.
representing America, that was going out there putting it down, doing something. We don't have that
Right.
amount anymore. And a lot of these guys are choosing other sports. We have to, you have a big guy now, they're playing basketball before they're thinking about boxing now. You know what I mean? Or going into
Playing
football
football or
before
whatever.
thinking about
Yeah.
boxing. Now,
Yeah.
you know, the
Or they going
heavyweight
to the
division,
MMA. Or they going
even
to MMA.
MMA, but
Right.
even
Right.
MMA. But if you're looking at, and you know, specifically talking about a young Black American kid, his aspiration isn't really looking at the heavyweight champion. You know, when you had Ali, when you had Tyson, when you had Holyfield, you know, you had guys that young kids was aspiring to be. Riddick Bowe, you know, young Black kids was aspiring to be these guys. Now, a lot of these guys these kids don't even know who the heavyweight champion is or can't even pronounce his name.
So
So that's a factor.
my last and final question before we get up out of here. We run out of time almost, but my last and final question, which is in the title, is this draw a robbery? Was it a rock? Because a lot of people feel Lamont Roach won this fight, legit. Even without the taking the knee knockdown thing, was it a robbery? But before you answer the question, let me just put this up real quick. This is from Terrence Crawford. Hold on, let me move this banner real quick. Terrence Crawford. First of all, that's a crazy shot. Oh, Tony Montana, you watching? You watching your boy right there? Look at your man face, man. I mean, this is
his
boxing.
shit is all
Everybody,
kind of contorted. His shit is all tight. That's a serious contortion going on right there.
that snap. I believe that's the right hand that stunned him. If I'm not
I'm
mistaken.
getting a headache looking at that shot right there. I'm not even gonna lie. That shot right there just like my shit is ringing like that.
Tank over there looking like Willow Smith. I whip my head back and forth.
Yeah,
Like,
I ain't gonna lie, man. Which is funny because listen, real quick, to address this real quick too. This is the Tank. Take that picture down real quick. I just want real quick. We're gonna get right back to this. But I'm talking to Tank right now. Tank, you said you just got your hair did and you had hair grease that got in your eye, and that was why you took a knee. Listen, man. You know what I mean? I expect better from you. As a fighter who grew up watching fighters in the 80s, watching fighters with Jerry curl juice flapping all over the ring. I've never in my life seen one of these Jerry curl juice. My activator got in my eye. I had to take a knee. You understand what I'm saying? We seen all type of activated juice getting beat out of fighters back in the 80s, man. Let's be honest.
Dudes was coming in the ring with the soul glow, man. They soul was going.
You know what I mean? All
Juices
types
and berries.
I ain't never had seen one of them. Oh, my activator, my soul glow drip. Nah, brother. You gotta come with a better excuse, man. That was the homie. That was Roach. You took a knee because of Roach. Period.
Well, he got hit with a jab right in the eye.
That knocked some hair
not
grease into his eyeball.
That then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I got some hair grease in my eye. First of all, now let's be all right. Let me just show this. Let me put this back up. Let me put this back up real quick. He said Terrence Crawford said they robbed that boy, and it's crazy. And then showed him getting this, you know what I mean, his hair grease knocked out his head. Now I'm gonna say this now, right? I'm gonna say this real quick. Was it a robbery? It was a robbery in the sense that it was a bad call on that particular point, like because that was a knockdown. So he kind of did get robbed. He wins the fight. I thought he won the fight straight out, but you know, it's all subjective. What's not subjective?
Well, he wins it on the scorecard with the knockdown.
He
wins it on the scorecard. And the knockdown, that was a knockdown.
What's not subjective is the dude taking the knee and that being counted as a knockdown. Now I'm gonna say this, and this is where it's like, okay, he was definitely all the way wrong on that particular part of the fight, because in what fight do you ever see a fighter getting something in their eye? Like Muhammad Ali, when he fought Sonny Liston, was saying that he had got some ointment or some liniment that was on the glove of Sonny Liston in his eye. He couldn't take a break mid-round and say, yo, wipe my eye. Now, if you take a knee, right, If a fighter get hair grease or activated juice or spit, you know what I'm saying? Or thumbed in the eye from a glove or some lint went in your eye, you gotta finish that round. You don't get to go to your corner and say, yo, wipe my face. You don't get to do that. You do not get to do that, bro.
For those who don't remember, when Bobby Chaz fought Holyfield, he started claiming he had some burnings going on in his eyes. And his eyes look kind of red, but who knows? It probably was the leather gloves slapping up against his face. But he claimed some burning, and guess what? When they looked in his eyes, they said, we don't know what you're talking about, and can you continue? It's burning. All right, it's over. Holyfield, you won. TKO. That's how that goes. So, yeah, I can't go with the hair grease, man. Like my man, like Sekou said, the big homie Sekou said it best, man. Tony Tucker ain't never took no knee. See, that's why we need him back on here, man, because I'm just reading his comments, and this brother definitely is dropping some shit in these comments. But go ahead.
Shout out to Baba Sekou, man. But listen, man, this is what I'm saying though. In what era of boxing, where in the rules is it ever been allowed for a fighter something in his eye to go to his corner and get his face wiped? That's what the ref let happen. The dude took a knee. You didn't count the knockdown. He goes, puts his head
New York
out
State
between the
Athletic Commission. I'm pretty sure Roaches can't. Who's Roach's promoter? Who's promoting Roach?
I think he's with PBC.
Yeah, he is with PBC. I'm pretty sure our Heyman is smart enough to look at this and say, you know what, we're gonna take some legal actions. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure there's some legal actions that could be taken.
Yo,
New York State Athletic Commission, I'm pretty sure it's gonna have to answer some questions. You know,
I would say give Roach the win, man, because fam, hold up. I wish I had a clip of the video.
Whoa. What? You're saying overturn the decision?
I said, of course they're not going to do that. I'm saying I wish they could do that for the young man, because what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. You cannot stick your head in between the ropes to your corner and have them wipe your face in the middle of a round. That is just not allowed. On top of the fact the dude took a knee and they didn't count it as a knockdown.
The referee is going to have to answer for that.
Which is, again, boom. Which is, shout out to Swizzy 425. He knew it was a knockdown.
That's the homie right there too, man.
He knew it was a knockdown. Tank knew, that's why he took the opportunity to do that, because I took a knee. I'm not even blaming Tank for that. The ref.
But hold on, but Tank said something to the ref. He got up, spoke to the ref as if he was saying, like, nah, I took the knee because of the hair grease in my eyeball. You know what I'm saying? Because I just got my hair did. And I look like anyone who knows, when you get your hair did, the hair grease, when you whip your head back and forth to your favorite songs, can get in your eyeballs. So he was whipping his head back and forth because of the punches, and it got in his eyeballs.
Yo, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm sitting here like, my man got done dirty. It was definitely a robbery, yo.
It was a robbery.
You can't wipe your eye in the middle of a round, fam. Forget the knee thing for a second.
So that's it. So
what was the ref thinking? Hold on. What was the ref thinking?
So Willis held the gun. Willis held the gun, is what you're saying. It was a robbery. This was a robbery. Willis held the gun.
Pretty much, bro. You cannot. Has it ever been allowed for a fighter to say, "Hold on, let me wipe this out my eye real quick"? Yo, corner, deal with that. You can't do that. You can't do that, bro.
So now
you can't do it,
because now we're looking into the rules of boxing, right? This is the ref's call. It's a blown call by the ref. We've seen refs blow knockdowns all the time. I've seen them. We've seen it. We've seen Zab when he dropped Floyd. That was a blown knockdown. I remember when Augie Sanchez dropped Prince Nassim Hamed, had him roll over the can. We've seen blown calls when it comes to knockdowns, and there's never been a rectified decision. We've even seen judges, like in the Pacquiao versus Marquez fight, not score of a knockdown or not take the proper amount of points away that's supposed to be because of a knockdown. Now, when these things actually take place, how do we rectify that? Is there, like, looking at boxing and looking at the rules, there's no way to rectify this as of now. How do we move forward and begin to rectify these type of calls that can cause fights, can cause championships, can decide the winner of championship fights?
I think, all right, great question before we raise up out of here. Great question. I think they might have even spoke about it on, I don't know what, I know I heard some commentators speaking about the use of instant replay and why it's needed. In between rounds in a questionable situation like that, the ref or the commission should be allowed to go back and look at the instant replay real fast and make a call. Yo, that was a knockdown. Judges, score that as a knockdown right now. Yo, ref, your man went over there and got his face wiped by his corner in the middle of the round. You can't do that. Take a point or knock the whatever. Like, I think instant replay is due. This is the only sport where they don't have nothing like that. Even in basketball, like, it took a while for it to happen, but now it's like they can challenge a call. They can challenge a call, go look back, replay it. They got a whole control center somewhere in New York and come back. Yo, this is what it is. We overturned the call. We're gonna keep it like it is. Boxing is still in this. Boxing is still back in the Stone Age, bro. When it comes to this type of madness, bro.
So with
And
that said,
we talking about wins and losses affect people's purses. Damn near their lives.
Absolutely. No, it could affect the whole trajectory of your career. So we're looking at it. You know, that's very understandable. But moving forward, if we do implement some type of instant replay, how, like, you have a referee, his job, he's the third man. He's in charge of the action inside the ring. He calls everything. Do we now have a referee outside of the ring now? And what angle is he watching the fight from? Who is sitting there with access to these screens and is able to review things and then make the call and say, wait a minute, we have to talk real quick. Before we go into the next round, there's a decision that was made that knockdown that you called was actually a slip. He missed him by a mile, and the logo, he slipped on the logo. Or vice versa. That wasn't no slip, that he punched him and that he slipped on that punch. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how do we move that?
Again, I think you're suggesting again whether have another official outside, somebody in front of somebody in the booth outside in the production truck or whatever gotta happen, bro. But something gotta happen because, fam, there's so many injustices that happen in the ring, bro. Where it's like, yo, they count as a knockdown. Dude clearly slipped, or like you said, oh no, he didn't slip. That was a knockdown. They didn't count it. But in this case, the dude took a knee. Tank admitted in the post fight, he took a knee, and not only did he take a knee, he went to his corner having wiped the hair grease out his eye.
I mean,
and that should not be missed. You cost this young man money. You cost him a victory that could have been life-changing. I think the draw already kind of, like I said, boosted his stock, but you denied this kid a victory that was his.
It super propelled him. So with that being said, yes, we're gonna have to say, Willis, we're charging you with armed robbery right now, brother. You know what I'm saying? You're being charged with armed robbery right now, brother. You held the gun. I don't know who you was robbing him for, but you robbed that man tonight, and you know it. Last night, you know it. That man right now, I don't know how you sleeping right now knowing you robbed that man like that in front of the world, man.
He was making them faces. You know the face he be making in the ring with his eyes looking all crazy?
He was too busy trying to be entertaining. We not supposed to know you referee. You supposed to just referee, man. You know what I mean? We need to get back to the Joe Cortezes. You know what I'm saying? And the rest in peace, Mitch Halperins of refereeing. You know?
Yeah. I agree. I agree with Baba Sekou, man. He's dropping it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's almost time to raise up out of here, man. But yeah, Lamont Roach was robbed, bro, and not by Tank, by the ref. Some people said the fix was in. I mean, boxing is the most corrupt sport. Let's keep it real. And as the reason why I think something, make the last point before we go, Jay. I think
It's the
the
most
reason why,
apparently corrupt. But go ahead.
right, the reason why it's going to be hard to implement things like it's the replay or have another ref outside reviewing this or that. That's more money that got to be spent. It's a greedy sport. Promoters want as much money back in their pocket as possible. Fighters want to make as much money as possible. Commissions want to make as much money as possible. These sanctioning bodies want to make as much money as possible. So where money don't have to be spent, it won't be spent because it comes down to the bottom line, which is money. So they're not gonna make the sport right and do right by us fans, so we can see, you know what I'm saying, like a real, the person that's supposed to win actually gets the victory when it's deserved, and have us sitting here talking about a blown call or a missed dude taking a knee, you don't take a point or this or whatever. We shouldn't have to be arguing about this, man. You know what I mean? These sanctioning bodies, these commissions, and these promoters are dirtbags. A lot of these people, man. So they're not going to pay for another ref to be sitting outside or another official to be in the production booth watching the video, making a call to make it right, because that could mess with their bottom line, because they want Tank to win and not Lamont Roach, because Tank is the cash cow. Tank lose this fight in that manner, that hurts the bottom line at the end of the day. So who knows if we ever going to get anything like that that can really change the sport and make the sport more enjoyable for the fans in that regard, man.
Absolutely. Sekou said it best, man. Until boxing is regulated, we're not gonna see that.
Right. I agree, man. Somebody get Turkey Al Shake on the line, man. I got something to tell him, man. He's the new emperor, so let me go talk to him. See if he can make something happen.
We need a meeting with the emperor, man.
We need that oil money to come make something happen.
Let's consolidate these titles. We got a lot of things we need to talk about.
Nah, real talk.
We're gonna consolidate these titles, and then we're gonna fix how this judging and this reffing is going on, man. We're gonna have all the fights over there in Riyadh, and it's gonna be Canaans for missed calls. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go over there and do like the Saudis. They Saudis, right?
Yeah.
They Saudis. We're gonna do like the Saudis do. Straight Canaans. You know what I mean? 2x4 and a bucket of motor oil. Canaans.
Well, let me just remind everybody to please jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Remember, this is the Parry. We don't pull or duck no punches, and the Parry is fundamental to boxing. I am your host, Bomani UFG.
I am the pragmatic Shake Black.
And until next time, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. It's a dope show. Great fights. See y'all next Sunday. And we up out of here. Peace.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.